Hello everyone, welcome back to AI Vidya. In the last video, we have studied about the regression and basic concepts of dependent and independent variable. In the coming lectures, we are going to study about linear regression and other types of regression. But before we discuss about linear regression, we are going to get familiar with terminologies and representation which we are going to use in our coming videos. So in this video, we are going to study about what is row vector, what is column vector, and what is the dataset representation I am going to use for the mathematical part in the coming videos. So let's start with the row vector. Row vector is basically a sequence of values which are written in a single rows. That is, if we are writing a value such as 1, 2, 5 in a sequence and denote it by r, so r is a row vector whose size is 1:4 because it has one row and 4 values. That means a 4 column. These are 4 values. I should write as 4. These are 4 values, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's study about what is column vector. Column vector is basically a sequence of values in which every value is written in a single column, like in this form. Like I should write some numbers 2, 3, 4. I'll denote it by r. So here r is a column vector. The size and shape of the column vector is, you can count like it has 3 rows and 1 column. So this is the basic part of row vector and column vector. Now let's move on to dataset representation. Dataset representation. The dataset is mainly denoted by the term D and it is represented in the form of a matrix as this. So mainly the data set have D independent variable, one dependent variable, we denote this dependent variable using y, and we denote D dependent variable as fi, where fi is ith independent variable. So I'll show you in the figure. Let us consider to be this one column as used to denote this dependent variable and another column as f1, f2, f3 up to fd as D independent variables. Every day nearly n data points as I show you this matrix. It has this first data point, this is second data point, and this is nth data point, and these are the D independent variable and one y as dependent variable. So I'll make this line. Now each data point is denoted by xi, where xi denotes ith data point. One more thing. Sometimes we denote xij. This denotes ith data point in jth column. I'll show you in the figure. Now let's understand with the figure. This figure makes so many things clear. We normally denote or normally say FIS independent variable. These are sometimes also called as features. These are also called as features. So here we have D features. D features. Now the feature as F1, F2, FD, and the Y, the last one is dependent variable. Now let's denote the data point as x1, x2, and xn data points. Now when we are calling as x1, 2, it means that we are denoting the first data point, that is this data point, and the second feature, that is this one. So when we are referring to x12, we are mainly referring to this value. We are mainly referring to this value. So this represents a particular value, that is similarly x13 means this somewhat comes here, x13, this one. Now we denote the column, that is xi, that is ith. Now we denote a data point, that xi, the ith data point, by default with a column vector, that is xi is a column vector of size d cross 1, that is xi1, xi2, xi3 up to xid. When we denote this data point in the data set in the form of matrix, we will denote like this. Since it's a column vector, we need to get the transpose of this, that is xit, that will denote this data point in the column. That like it replaces the values in this way, xi1, xi2 up to xid, and the last one we leave it is a dependent variable. Now when we take this transpose, it will represent as xit in the same form it is shown here. You will see as xi1, xi2, xid, and we take the transpose of this. Transpose is a matrix operation in which we interchange the row and columns. This X is called as feature matrix. This is nothing but these D features, F1 up to FD and D and data points. So the size of X is N cross D, and the another one Y is a last part, that is dependent vector. It has n rows in this form and one column. So this is called as yi. So the whole part denotes this value, where the yi denotes ith dependent value. Now we have reached to the end of this lecture. We have got the basic terminologies which we are going to use in the coming videos. In the next video, we will start with the linear regression and the other types of regression. So if you like my video, then please like it, share it and subscribe to AI Vidya. If you have any query, then please drop your query in the comment section. I will definitely answer them. Till then, thank you.